he needs to endorse. I know that some people that are working for Ron Paul, the Politico types, want to be big stars in the Republican Party, but this isn't about that. It isn't about, just going into the Republican Party and being taken over. And I know a lot of Ron Paul people think that's happening, and that's good. But we've had a great Republican Party platform here in Texas for a long time. They never follow it. So the ideas of, well, maybe Ron Paul should endorse Romney so he gets a speaking slot that almost no one watches now. I mean, these things are a joke. These things are a joke. And there's a real disenchantment. Congress has a 9% approval rating. Governor Johnson, it took people only 6 months to start waking up to Obama that he'd conned them. Used to it took people 3-4 years to wake up to a politician. Are voters starting to get more savvy? I mean, why do you think the American people are buying millions of guns a month?
No, I think that that's exactly the case. And I would like to point out that so much is made about working together. Working together is just code in Washington to spend more money. I'd like to point out that when it comes to Obama and Romney, that I have more governmental executive experience than the two of them combined. And if your initial knee-jerk is, we don't need people with more government experience, my experience in government is saying no to government spending, is saying no to the attacks on our civil liberties. I may have vetoed more legislation than the other 49 governors in the country combined. That's my experience. I am promising to submit a balanced budget to Congress in the year 2013. I am promising to veto any legislation where expenses exceed revenue. Are they going to override my veto? Yeah, they sure are. They're going to have to. But I'm going to argue that spending will be lower in that scenario than any other scenario possible. Imagine a libertarian president challenging Obama to repeal, challenging Democrats in Congress to repeal the Patriot Act, to abolish the Department of Homeland Security, to let's not bomb Iran, to get out of Afghanistan. Imagine a libertarian president challenging Republicans in Congress to get some starch. Imagine a libertarian president vetoing a Republican spending bill that spends too much. Get some starch. Let's save the country.
I agree with you, but I mean, you've gone over the numbers. We had Lew Rockwell on earlier talking about it. Even if they hyperinflate, we're going to go bankrupt, and government, it looks like, has decided like a cancer to just eat everything, to totally take over. Don't the defense contractors, don't the welfare people, don't the unions, don't they all know that the course we're going on will wreck everything? Don't they get it? Don't they understand? Or is it just the special interests just don't care? They're in there snatching for whatever they can get right now.
Well, I think people do understand. And unless they have a clear choice, and I don't mean Obama and Romney, where Romney says, let's slash spending, but you just scratch the surface a little bit. And he wants to increase spending for defense. And I cringe every time I call the Department of War the Department of Defense. But we should increase spending for the Department of Defense, and we should hold Medicare harmless. Well, and for those listening, for everyone in this country, look, if we don't spend within our means, if we don't cut Medicare spending by 43%, we're going to find ourselves without a healthcare system at all. And that's what's at stake here. If we don't fix this, we're all going down together, all of us. And that would be mutual sacrifice on all of our parts. And I think really key to this, too, is mutual. This needs to be fair. And the country is anything but fair. It's up for sale. Both parties sell it. They've got their hands out. And corporations, individuals, groups, they're out to pay for it. And they do. And they get their special Governor, they get their special place in line in this country.
We're going to break here and come back with more points you've got to make. And because I've been asking the questions, I want to hear what's most important on your plate, but also take some calls. But think about this question when we come back first. Why are they announcing TSA checkpoints on the highways? Why are they ordering 450 million rounds of hollow point 40 cal? Why are they announcing armored pillboxes? Why is the head of the Army announcing they want to put armed troops stationed in every city and admitting that it's for domestic groups, not Al-Qaeda now? I mean, this is like a science fiction movie. And in Europe, they're announcing currency controls. They may not let you leave the country. I mean, this world is going into tyranny. It's really scary. We'll get your take on that.
We're on the
The big mega corporations that are monopoly men, they want a giant dependent welfare class. They don't want a middle class. The system wants big government. You can have people that come out and say, oh, no, they want libertarianism. Yeah, there are some globalists who want to call it libertarianism and privatize things that are already public, but then just operate as government ripping you off. Don't confuse that Bilderberg, Peter Thiel type idea as real constitutionalism or what you call libertarianism. The ideas of drug decriminalization, the ideas of states' rights, the idea of not having a nanny state. I want to get the governor's take on the police state question I brought up with the proliferation of the military, the checkpoints, all of it here in a moment. Then your phone calls. I'll also ask me about the nanny state. California is moving into New York City, saying no soft drinks above 16 ounces, milk products will be banned, popcorn. I mean, we're actually saying this. I mean, I feel crazy when I say it. I feel like I'm lying. Even though it's in the news, my brain says that can't be true. Feels like I'm saying Martians landed in Central Park. I mean, it sounds crazy. 30,000 armed drones sounds crazy. The head of the Army saying, the Secretary of the Army 2 weeks ago, and the CFR saying, we're going to have armed troops in every city to take on the Americans. I mean, I'm ranting. We're going back to the governor here in a moment. I want to tell you about one of the ways we fund our operation, and that is selling products that I believe in. ProPure is the best gravity-fed filter side by side against all the other major competitors. You can check it out at InfoWarsShop.com or InfoWarsStore.com. We'll also get you there. We already have the lowest prices on the ProPure, but you can get an additional 10% off at checkout by entering the code WATER, W-A-T-E-R, if you're public school educated like I am. And then last but not least, I have found the best field filter that makes even, scummy swamp water safe to drink. We have the lowest price on the Life Straw, and you get a free citizen rule book and bumper stickers when you order it at Infowars.com. So ProPure, the lowest price at Infowars.com or InfoWarsShop.com, and Life Straw, the best field filter out there. An amazing technology. Life Straw, ProPure, both available at InfoWarsShop.com or by calling 888-253-3139. We also, because it's back in print, we sold these about a decade ago, but they went out of print. Now they've been reprinted, a new, bigger edition. It's a wider page, bigger font. Gary Allen, None Dare Call It Conspiracy. Very, very powerful book, available at Infowars.com, discounted as well, along with Tragedy and Hope that Ron Paul was talking about in the last hour, all at InfoWarsShop.com, and we are listener supported. Okay, going back to the governor. Governor, you heard my question, my diatribe about the accelerating, not even federalization, but militarization of everything and shifting from it's for Al-Qaeda to it's for libertarian right-wing extremists. What do you make of this, and what would you do as president? What will you say in the debates about this issue?
Well, the root of all evil are politicians that want to get elected to save you and I from all of the what's bad in the world, whether that be drugs, whether that be the illegal immigrant, whether that be poor health care, whether that be the terrorist threat. And so we need to bomb Iran, and we need to get in an endless war in Afghanistan. And so it's politicians at the root of all evil, creating with the executive, with the president, new agencies to address all these fears. And then the bureaucrats that run amok to go along with this. Look, I will tell you, as governor of New Mexico, my experience, good government was easy. It wasn't hard. And it started with looking at issues first and politics last. Don't discount electing a president of the United States beholden to no one, that goes in, and if no laws change, being able to control all these agencies, because the president of the United States appoints the heads of all these agencies, because the president of the United States appoints the heads of all and the membership of all boards and commissions, the president of the United States controls rules and regulations. The president of the United States controls exactly what it is that you are talking about right now, because these are all being driven through the various bureaucracies. That can come to an end electing a president of the United States that's actually going to bring leadership as opposed to status quo and being bought and paid for.
Very well said. Now, again, getting back to Ron Paul here briefly, Ron Paul says let the states handle it with abortion and things, but then you get off into other issues that that are national sovereignty issues. You mentioned illegal aliens. Well, they use the illegals as an excuse to put in biometrics, but then don't even use it against them. Bank of America, wants 3 forms of ID for my crew members. We've been in there and shot video of it. One of my guys who had a bank account there. But an illegal can come in with a fake consular matricula. You can almost get out of Cracker Jack boxes. I understand immigrants are hardworking. Many of them are, actually do help the economy. My issue is not with them. It's that the government, Republicans as well, give them welfare, get them on the system, teach them victimology and all of this liberation theology. I mean, when I was in high school at Anderson High, they were teaching us, that America was evil and Mexico's going to take over. And this was white teachers doing this, by the way. I mean, this is what the government wants, is to kind of break things up, have us at each other's throats. And I understand you represented a border state there in New Mexico, but you can't have the illegals here, and you got to kick them out because of the welfare. I mean, they come across the border, they have their kids, I have to pay for it, and then the illegals end up becoming Democrats who vote 90% of the time to try to ban my guns. So that's why I have the problem with the illegal alien. So how do you deal with that as president?
Well, I think we make it as easy as possible for someone that wants to come into this country and work to get a work visa. I'm not talking about citizenship. I'm not talking about a green card. I'm talking about a work visa that would entail a background check, because we don't want criminals working in this country. With regard to the 11 million illegal immigrants that are here in this country right now, I think we need to set up a grace period where we can get them a work visa. And you're absolutely right about welfare. We do not want this to be about welfare. It needs to be about work. The third promise I'm making when it comes to the economy, besides submitting a balanced budget and vetoing expenditures that exceed revenue, is I am advocating throwing out the entire federal tax system, throwing out the income tax, throwing out corporate tax, withholdings, abolishing the IRS, and replacing it with one federal consumption tax, in this case, the fair tax. If we implement the fair tax, taxes will not be an issue, whether it's illegal immigrants, legal immigrants, U.S. citizens, visitors. No one is going to be able to avoid
I understand I understand that would turbocharge the economy. Here's the problem that I was told by insiders 18 years ago and turned out to be very accurate, that they were going to always come out and have people push a fair tax or a flat tax, a sales tax, VAT, whatever the case is, and then bait and switch and call the income tax your Social Security at 10%, and then have basically 9999. The real plan that he was pushing was 4 nines, and so then they can always jack the 9s up later, and it's just a way to get total federal surveillance of now